Picture this. Is Melania Trump is alive? April 9th, 2026, the White House, the grand foyer, the magnificent gold hallway that literally America's living room and outwalks Melania Trump alone. No press secretary, no spine doctor, no teleprompter, just her in front of cameras. And she says, I never had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. And now here's the question, the one question that nobody in the mainstream media is asking out loud. Why would the First Lady of the United States feel the need to walk out completely solo and deny knowing a dead pedophile unless there was something serious to deny? Today, we are going all the way in communist Yugoslavia. Einstein visa, a $28 million, Amazon check, 3 million pages of FBI files, and a Brazilian model sitting in a South America right now. And who says she knows everything? And buckle up, this is the full Melania story, a Trump story that nobody has dared to put in one place, and we are the eye openers of America, Manager Yogi. So guess what? We are going there, and it is very important. Okay, before Epstein, before White House, before any of this, who actually is Melania Trump? Where does the real story starts? April 26, 1970, a girl named Melania Navas is born in Novo Mesto, Yugoslavia, grows up in a Savonica teeny town, Socialist Republic of Slovenia. Population nobody you have ever heard of, normal family of a surface. But here the thing, her father Victor was a registered member of a League of Communists of Slovenia. Now, Melania wrote in her memoir that membership was a mandatory and I will give that some room. It was complicated over there, but context matters. Only 5% of the Slovenia's population were party members. 5%. And those 5%, better goods, better income, better treatment. Victor had a fleet of cars, unusual for the era, unusual enough to get noticed. And what does getting noticed mean in communist Yugoslavia? It means the UDBA came knocking. That's the Yugoslav secret police, the KGB, and but smaller and meaner. They raided the family home. Government man thought the front door. Trip of the by a neighbor or a colleague or someone from the family trusted someone in their community who decided to snitch. And I want you to think about that. A child, you are 5, maybe 6 years old, men from the government came into your house because someone your family knew reported your data. What does that wire into a kid's brain? Neuroscientists who study post-communist Eastern European trauma have a name for it. It's not but the hypervigilance. Your brain literally rewires itself. You learn to wear a mask, show people what is safe, keep everything real locked up the tight inside, and never fully trust your environment again. That mask, she has been wearing it for 56 years. And here's the wild part, it has served her incredibly well. And here, do you think the way someone grows up, the trauma they experienced as a child shapes who they become as a leader? As or no? Drop it below because how you answer that colors everything else in this video. And the visa situation comes into her life. All right, fast forward to the America. How did Melania actually get here? And what's the controversy around it? August 27th, 1996, Melania Knaus, now Melania, lands at JFK Airport on a B1 B2 visa. That's a tourist visa. It literally says on the form no paid employment permitted in the United States, clearly as a bell. Now, between September 10th and October 15th of the same year, 6 weeks, agency accounting record shows she earned $20,056 across 10 modeling assessments. Her H1B visa what didn't start until October 18th. So for 6 weeks, she was working without a legal authorization, and that sounds like something that would get an ordinary person deported. How is this? It's not a big deal for you? Oh, it's a big deal. For a hypocrisy factor alone, because on the August 4th, 2016, she stood in front of cameras and said, direct quote, I have at all times been in a full compliance with the immigration laws of this country. The accounting ledger from her own modeling agency says otherwise. Look, I'm not here to cancel anyone over 6 weeks of visa. Technically, people make immigration mistakes every day. But if you are going to stand up on a stage and say at all times full complaints, your own receipts better not contradictory to your present situation. Bless your heart. And then the and you know what? And the Einstein visa situation. What even it is that in 2000s she applied for what's called the EB1 visa, the extraordinary ability category. See, you got Nobel Prize winners, Olympic gold medal people who literally changed the world. She used a British GQ cover and a Sports Illustrated future to meet the minimum requirement thresholds. And I want to be fair here. Immigration law says that with aggressive representation, a strong modeling career can qualify that. The system is highly subjective. So maybe it was above a board, or maybe it was a well connected application that sailed through it because of who she was with at that time. I will let you decide which one of you believe. Didn't she then use the exact process the Trump administration was calling chain migration to bring her own parents over here? And she absolutely did. Victor and Amalija naturalized in a private Manhattan ceremony the same week the Trump White House was publicly calling the exact process chain migration and trying to abolish in a legislation. Their own immigration attorney actually went records and compared the administration's borders crackdowns to quote the darkest periods of European history. That attorney was talking about the policy, the one that Melania's own parents benefited from. I'm not going to editorialize on that. I'm just going to be let it be. Should the same immigration rules apply to everyone in America, regardless of who they are married to? This is not a trick question. Drop your honest take below. And here it's come to the Epstein files. Okay, the big one. And what do the Epstein files actually say about Melania and what not in them? Context first. In November 2025, a Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The DOJ released approximately 3 million pages of documents, flight logs, contact books, photos, communications. Melania's name appears multiple times, listed alongside of Ghislaine Maxwell, Jean-Luc Brunel, and Epstein's assistants. Now, before anyone runs with that, appearing in someone's contact book does not make you a criminal. Everyone at every high society New York event in the late 1990s knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. He was a fixer. So, name in contacts by itself, not smoking a gun. But what is smoking gun? And then what is the smoking gun if there is one? Here, the 25 missing pages. In late February 2026, an independent journalist and NPR confirms that DOJ filed a release 3 FBI from 302 reports. Those are agents, interview notices, and comprising 25 pages from four separate interviews. These documents contain explicit through explicitly unverified allegations from the woman who claimed she was trafficked by Epstein starting at age 13. She alleged that Epstein introduced her to Donald Trump and makes further allegations about financial crimes. I want to be 100% clear that FBI never brought charges. Investigation, not timeline discrepancies. These are allegations, not convictions, but the DOJ's decisions to withhold exactly these 25 pages out of 3 millions is what triggered full congressional backlash and the accusations against Palm Body that got her fired. So, what actually happened when Melania walked out of the White House to address all of this? April 9, 2026, 5 minutes. She denied any relationship with Epstein and Maxwell. She called a 2002 email she went sent to Maxwell, signed Love, Melania, trivial. Maxwell's response began with sweet PR. She said there is association was just trivial overlapping in social circles. And then she made a move that survivor advocates call simultaneously brilliant and devastating. She demanded Congress to hold public hearings so Epstein survivors could testify under oath. Think, think about that strategically. She shifted the spotlight from the powerful people who enabled Epstein directly onto the traumatized survivors, the very survivors who have already been through hell. The survivor, Maria Farmer, came out publicly and said that was a deflection of responsibility, that it forces victims to carry the weight of a accountability that belongs to the powerful. And didn't Trump have no idea she was going to do any of this? Correct. Multiple reports leaks that Donald Trump had zero advance knowledge on that statement. He told a reporter he didn't know anything about it. She went rogue. From the White House on the most politically explosive topic in America without informing her husband. Think about what that tells you about this marriage. Think about what it tells you about her agenda. Because she is not a woman who does anything without calculation. Now I am going to answer the question everybody in America is actually asking. In the one of the mainstream media will not touch directly the name, the connection, what's actually in those missing 25 pages, and what it means for every powerful person in Epstein's orbit. But I need you to stay right here because what's coming in the next 10 minutes, that is where the whole story changes. And here, don't go anywhere. And within 1 second, you will got the information. Welcome back. Good, you stayed. Let's go. What do we actually know? On the record, documented and about who was the Epstein orbit. We know for a fact, documented, photographed, and sourced. Prince Andrew of the British royal family, Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's jet multiple times. That's in the flight logs, and Alan Dershowitz is directly named in the victim legal filings, and before his presidency, Donald Trump attended multiple events with Epstein and publicly called him on tape a terrific guy who links his woman on the anger side. The quote is real. Look it up. It's documented history. So, if Trump himself had documented relationship with Epstein, why would he promise to release the file? That's the $1 trillion question. And I'm giving you both sides. Side one, Trump genuinely wanted accountability, believed Bondi would handle it cleanly, and fired her, which she didn't. Side two, the release was always meant to be controlled. Enough pages to look like transparency. Specific pages withheld to protect the people who actually matter. I'm not telling you which one I believe. That is not what this channel does. We gave you both sides and let America decide. What I will say is this: when you see 3 million pages released and 25 specific pages withheld, ask yourself what in those 25 pages that's more dangerous than everything else combined. Is there any positive development in all of this? Any accountability actually happening? Yes, and this is genuinely important. The accountability push has been bipartisan from the start. Both Republicans and Democrats voted subpoena from Pambodi. Congress passed the Epstein Transparency Act and Trump signed in it. And Nancy Mace, a Republican, went against her own party leadership to force testimony. Robert Gracia, a Democrat, has been relentlessly on contempt charges. Bill Gates is scheduled for a House oversight interview on June 10th, 2026. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is set for May 6th. The pressure is not dying. The America system working the way it designed to, slowly, imperfectly, but working. Who in this story do you trust the least? Drop the name below. No wrong answers. I want to know what America actually think. And here comes to the another question: who is Amanda Ungaro? And why does the matter more than anyone is reporting? Amanda Ungaro, Brazilian model from UN diplomat from for Grenda, and for 20 years the partner of Paolo Giampoli. That name matters. Paolo Giampoli is the Italian American modeling agent who sponsored Melania's H-1B visa in 1996. It was connected. And who introduced her to Donald Trump at the Kit Kat Club in September 1998. Again, it was connected. Giampoli's name appeared multiple times in the Epstein files. Here, the connection came. He and Epstein reportedly discussed purchasing a model agency together. Is that it was interconnected. So he is not a peripheral figure. He is a direct thread connecting to Melania's entry into Trump's world and the Epstein network. And what exactly happened to Amanda Ungaro? And why was it is so explosive? In 2002, she was 16 years old. Her modeling agent, Jean-Luc Brunel, who later dies in a Persian prison awaiting sex crimes trial, placed her in a Epstein private jet for a Paris to New York flight. She says there was approximately 30 young women on board, aged 14 to 16. She was introduced to Epstein and Maxwell. She says she never saw Epstein again after that single flight, but she has witnessed the pipeline with her own eyes. And then what happened to her more recently? The deportation story. This is the part that should make every American furious, regardlessly a political side. Fast forward to June 2025, Amanda is arrested in Florida on fraud charges she denies. Before she can post bail, Palo Gempoli, her an estranged partner in a bitter custody battle, calls David Venturella, a senior ICA official. Gempoli reports that Amanda's visa has expired and requests she been placed in immigration detention before bail can be posted. And Venturella's own internal note describes the request as coming from someone, quote, close to White House, and she was intercepted before she could post bail. Spent months in detention, first in Miami alongside serious criminal offenders, then it is windowless hall in Louisiana with wet floors. She ultimately requested her own deportation to avoid permanently losing custody of her son. She landed in Brazil in a prison uniform, reportedly infested with the eyes. So, a federal immigration agency was deployed as a personal weapon in a private custody dispute. This is what that documented record suggests. And Amanda Ungaro is in Brazil right now, away from her son, saying she knows everything about the connections between Melania Trump and Paolo Gempoli and the Epstein network. Whether she testifies or whether someone prevents that from happening is one of the biggest unanswered questions in the entire story. Polish it doesn't even cover it. If a federal agency can be deployed as a personal weapon in a private custody dispute, is that a justice? And should Amanda Ungaro, be allowed to testify before Congress? And America, tell me what you think. Do you think it's normal? And okay, explain the Amazon documentary deal and say senators called it potentially corrupt. January 2026, Amazon MGM Studios acquires a documentary simple titled Melania for $40 million. The next highest bidder was Disney, at 14 million. Amazon beat Disney by $26 million for a documentary about a first lady that earned 11% on Rotten Tomatoes, opened in 2000 theaters and grossed 60.7 millions at the box office against a $75 million total budget. Hollywood calls that absolutely a disaster. And normal studios do not overplay by 26 million for contest they know will bomb. Normal studios just don't do that. And what was Amazon actually buying then? If not box office returns, what? That's the question. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Hank Johnson launched a formal congressional investigation to answer in March 2026. At that time, Amazon signed the check. They had active FTC antitrust lawsuits pending, highly lucrative federal contracts under review, and tariff exemptions on semiconductors they needed. For that $40 million free, roughly 28 million, 70% went directly to Melania's as executive producer. The senators explicitly called it a quote, all are connected. Corrupt pay to play scheme. Amazon said there was nothing improper. With a completely straight face after playing 26 million more than any else for a movie that bombed. Simple question. If an ordinary American business owner paid a federal official spouse $28 million while that business had active federal investigations pending, what happened to that business owner? They would be Shetkre without a pedal so fast it would make your head spin. That's all I'm going to say about that. You are a smart person, do the math. Is this the most brazen financial transaction in modern American political story? Of completely normal, most brazen or a normal, drop it in a comments. Serious answers only. And I'm waiting for your serious answers. And here the another question: the Melania Mimi coin. What actually happened and why couldn't anyone stop it? January 2025. Days before the inauguration, the Trump family launches two cryptocurrency meme coins on the Solana blockchain: Trump dollar and Melania dollar. Two Trump-owned LLCs retained 800 million of the total 1 billion tokens, released only 200 million to the public. Then the sitting president of the United States used his social media platform, the most powerful media megaphone on the planet, to publicly promote his assets, market capitals. Briefly, he hit $27 billion. Melania peaked at $30.05. How is this even illegal? Is there any ethics law against this? Here is the genius and horror simultaneously, because these are meme coins on the blockchain. Traditional federal ethics law written decades before blockchain existed literally don't have a box for this. There is no ethics disclosure for that asks, quote, did you issue personal fiat currency backed by the privileged leverage of the US presidency? It's not technically illegal. It may be the most audacious financial play in the entire history of the American executive branch. And ordinary retail investors, regular Americans, not billionaires, 800 million tokens. You already know whose LLCs those are. Should it be legal for anyone in the White House to launch cryptocurrency? Yes or no? If no, tell me why not. I want to understand the other side of the argument. And all of this, after all of that, what is the actual takeaway? What does the story Melania Trump mean for regular Americans? Here's the most honest truth I want to leave you with. The story is not at its core about the specific woman in the about how power operates in America. A girl from communist Yugoslavia whose home was raided by a secret police learned the most important survival lesson of the 20th century: wear the mask, control what people see, navigate the system because the system is payable. If you know the right people, she worked before, she had a work visa, she obtained the Einstein visa, she used a chain migration for her own parents. While the administration called it dangerous, her name appeared in the Epstein file. She received $28 million from the corporation with pending federal investigation. She launched a meme coin using the visibility of the US presidency, and she is legally still standing in the White House making solo statements her own husband didn't know were coming. That's not necessarily a knock on her alone. That's a knock on the architecture, on the institutions that were supposed to be blind. America, but clearly, demonstrably or not, on the DOJ that withheld 25 pages, on the ICE official who took a personal call and who used it to deport a mother away from her son. Amanda Ungaro is in a Brazil. She has no son within a reach. Michael Wolf has a lawsuit with Donald Trump's name on a subpoena. And the damned hack cracks. The witnesses are talking, and the discovery process has been very, very long memory. So here, my final question for you today: do you believe the justice system in America is truly equal for everyone, regardlessly of who they are married to or how much money they have? Leave your honest answer below. Subscribe if any part of this gave you something real to think about. Share it with someone who needs to see it. We are eye openers of America, Manager Yogi. We don't tell you what you what to think. We make sure you are equipped to think. And we will see on the next one. Eyes open America. Manager Yogi. Thank you. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you very much.